Hey guys, Sendai here. So, this video will be about Tai Lopez. What I think about the guy. So, alright. Let me go back to the first ever occurrence when I saw Tai Lopez. Most likely, I'm not the only one who I met Tai Lopez through YouTube ad years ago. That was the first time ever I saw Tai Lopez. He was playing as a YouTube ad, and he. I think I never saw the full video of his ad. I only saw the first YouTube. Wants you to see you can only skip after like 5 seconds or something. So even for that 5 second, that video was interesting. The first impression of Tai Lopez was that he's a guy who makes money by selling so-called secrets to success, and obviously he made it because he had his Ferrari or Lamborghini or whatever in his garage. But that was the first impression. Like I never really went too deep on investigating who he is or what his message is, because he was like, okay, here am I in my garage. The fucking famous line is crazy that I know this line after years. So this is still genius, I have to admit. But anyway, so he's there with his garage, and I remember I was watching his video. I was watching his ad, and I was like, I never waited as long in the video to find out what the product is or what he's trying to sell. I knew he was up to something. I knew he wants to sell something. Obviously, if you want to communicate through an ad with me, I know that you want to sell something. And I'm not really that type of a person who's very much open to these things. So, but the person absolutely was something that I was thinking about. I can remember. Uh, and my first impression was, okay, so here's this guy. First of all, no misunderstanding here, okay? But I think he's a decent looking guy. This is very important these days. Like, you have to be presentable, I might say. Usually people think that I'm selling drugs if they look at me. They're not really thinking that I'm working in fashion. So yeah, so he's a decent looking guy trying to sell me something, and he has a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. So that was my first ever encounter with Tai Lopez years ago, and I haven't really went beyond that. Like I didn't know who he is. I didn't really care. And years later, just a few months ago, uh, I was wandering around on YouTube, and I think by accident I found one of his videos, and I clicked on it. I was like, okay, this is the guy with the Lambo. Like, okay, so what's going on here? I was curious, I guess. And to my utmost surprise, I saw an intellectual person talking. Uh, I definitely felt that he's smart, and he can speak. Uh, he can communicate pretty well. Uh, and the stuff he was saying actually made sense. And that was very interesting to me, because he was not like a con man who's just who's having one or two skills, and that's basically how to get your money. But he's actually a reasonable person who has some reasonable thoughts. On one end, the conclusion about that was that, all right, even reasonable people, like, even if today Jesus would come to us, most likely Jesus would have to learn how to do online marketing and how to put up YouTube ads and Facebook ads, because otherwise no one would care. Like in this crazy world where everything we're bombarded with visual effects and fake, everything is fake around us. So today, what 20 years ago used to be a science fiction movie, today no one cares. But it's just like, yeah, okay, it's too much. It's too much. I think our senses today are extremely overloaded. But anyway, let's get back to Tai Lopez. So I saw this guy and I was like, all right, I mean, I could listen to this guy. I mean, he sounds like a reasonable, intelligent person. He has some nice thoughts. And by the way, I'm not saying he is not playing with words, and I'm not saying he's not trying to manipulate, because I definitely think he is doing that. I don't know if that's absolutely natural to him or this is something that he learned, but he's doing it pretty well. But if you strip off that part, because persuasion and stuff like that, that's not inherently bad. Like you have to, even you cannot have a mentor who cannot talk to you, who cannot convince you. If you want someone around you that you can listen to, that person has to have some skill or charisma. Even charisma is enough. So you will listen to them. Otherwise, if they don't have a charisma and they cannot communicate with you, they will never be that person you will listen to. So again, this is not inherently a bad thing that he has these skills, but you have to be aware of that. And once you're aware of that and you strip off that, he's actually saying useful stuff. So I think I was trying to separate, his business ideas and business, his communication of business and his experience of life. I was trying to separate those two. I'm very much interested in his experience of life because he is an interesting person and he has some interesting story to tell. From a business point of view, I don't think I will buy stuff from him. But again, he's still a person of someone who I would listen to. And ever since then, I subscribed to his podcast. I subscribed to his YouTube channel because he's an interesting person to listen to. So that's what I think about him. I think he's a wise businessman, but at the same time he's a smart individual. So I can forgive him that he's a smart businessman. That's what I think. So he's doing a good job. He's an interesting person to listen to. So yeah, I think I'll continue listening to him and I will see where it goes. All right, these were my thoughts about Tai Lopez. Send I out.